It sounds like the dream: salty breeze, sunrise views, and a private balcony just for you. But after a few cruises, that fantasy cracked hard. From cigarette smoke drifting in to rowdy neighbors and zero privacy, that luxury upgrade turned into a noisy, overpriced regret. I've booked balconies, tested their perks, and learned the truth the hard way. Here's why I'll never waste money on one again. Let's dive in. 1. Noise neighbors. You book a balcony for the peace, to sip coffee with nothing but waves in the background. But what you actually get? Your neighbor's Bluetooth speaker blasting country music at 7 a.m., or a child's meltdown echoing through the paper-thin divider. That ocean serenity gets drowned in conversations you didn't sign up for. I once listened to a couple argue for 45 minutes about excursion prices. I could hear every word, including his dramatic storm-off and his flip-flops. And since balconies are often connected by just a thin metal sheet, there's no insulation. Laughter, coughs, clinking wine glasses, it all bleeds into your space. The dream of personal retreat turns into a front-row seat to someone else's vacation. Want peace and quiet? An inside cabin might not offer a view, but at least you're not stuck eavesdropping through metal dividers while pretending the ocean makes up for it. 2. Smoke surprise. Picture this. You're curled up on your balcony with a book, ready for a quiet read. Then, whiff, cigarette smoke. Your neighbor's quick puff drifts right into your lungs. Cruise lines claim balconies are non-smoking, but enforcement is spotty at best. On one trip, the guy next door chain-smoked every sunset. I reported it twice. You know what security did? Left a voicemail. That was it. Smoke seeps in through the sides, the top, even through the divider gap, and you can't block it. Worse, if you leave the door cracked for airflow, it slips right into your cabin, stinking up your clothes and sheets. For non-smokers, it's infuriating. You paid extra for ocean air, not secondhand smoke. With no one patrolling decks 24/7, the rules mean nothing unless you get lucky with your neighbors. If fresh air's what you're after, don't gamble. Just go for a window cabin and walk the promenade. 3. Privacy problems. You think a balcony means seclusion, your own little slice of ocean. But one lean over the rail and surprise, eye contact with the couple next door. On most ships, balconies are stacked like bleachers, and the higher decks can look straight down into yours. So while you're lounging in your robe, someone's probably sipping wine 2 floors up, enjoying the same sunset. And you're awkward stretching. On my last cruise, I waved to a stranger twice before giving up and going inside. There's also the divider gaps, small enough that voices, sneezes, even cologne drift freely. And if you think no one's watching you through those glass partitions during sail away, think again. The illusion of privacy is exactly that, an illusion. Unless you're into shared ambiance and synchronized awkward silences, skip the balcony. You'll get more privacy behind a sealed cabin door. 4. Wind tunnel woes. You imagine your balcony as breezy and refreshing, not a scene from a disaster movie. But cruise ships move fast, and that wind doesn't whisper, it howls. I opened my balcony door once and nearly lost the room service tray. Try enjoying breakfast with the table rocking and sea air turning it into a cold buffet. Even when the ship's docked, crosswinds sneak in and whip everything around like you're camping in a storm. Want to leave the door cracked for ambiance? Good luck. It howls, vibrates, and even wakes you up at night. One night, the wind whistling through the frame kept me tossing for hours. Balconies sound romantic, but if you're not a fan of wind-whipped chaos and ear-splitting door bangs, stick to indoor spaces. At least you'll be able to hear yourself think and eat without chasing napkins. 5. Balcony party above. Balcony cabins often sit below public decks, and that's when the real fun begins. I once booked what I thought was a quiet midship cabin, right under the Lido deck. Every chair scrape, every sunbed slam, every thud of kids running echoed like a stampede through my ceiling. At midnight, I was still hearing dragging noises like someone redecorating above my head. Spoiler, they were just moving chairs. During the day, loud music from the pool blasted through the deck floor and into my balcony haven. I paid for oceanfront serenity and got Club Lido FM instead. The cruise line won't tell you this when booking. You have to decipher deck plans like you're defusing a bomb. Or skip the balcony roulette altogether and go for a cabin with guaranteed silence. Because relaxation shouldn't come with a thumping bass line. 6. High stakes for low use. You imagine sipping coffee at sunrise and stargazing every night. But by day 3, your balcony becomes the most expensive chair you don't use. Why? Because most cruise life happens elsewhere. The shows, the pool, the buffets, the excursions, all pull you away from that tiny outdoor space. I once tracked my use on a 7-night cruise. Out of the entire trip, I spent 42 minutes on my balcony. Total. That's 200 plus in premium experience fees for under an hour. And when I did try to sit out, wind, noise, or smoke often drove me back in. Meanwhile, friends in interior cabins paid less and spent the same amount of time on the public decks I used anyway. If you're the type who's always out exploring the ship or ports, that balcony will become a glorified photo op. Save the money. Spend it on excursions, specialty dining, or literally anything you'll actually enjoy. 7. Misleading marketing. A sun-drenched couple in white robes, champagne flutes in hand, gazing across a peaceful ocean. But what they don't show is the balcony directly next door, or the metal support beam slicing through your view. Cruise websites are experts in angles. They shoot cabins from the best possible perspective, crop out divider gaps, and crank up the brightness until every room looks like a spa. My last balcony had peeling paint, rusted railings, and a direct view of lifeboats. It wasn't ocean view, it was obstructed industrial. Don't fall for the dream sold in brochures. Balcony quality varies wildly ship to ship and even cabin to cabin. Unless you've studied the deck plan and verified the location, you might be paying luxury prices for a cramped metal box with a partial breeze. Not exactly 5-star. 8. Cabins that cook. You booked a balcony for fresh air, but it can't save you from the heat. Balconies on the sunny side of the ship trap heat like a greenhouse. You'll step outside in the morning expecting a breeze and instead get walloped by tropical sauna air. I once tried to read on mine at noon. My back stuck to the chair, the table was hot to the touch, and I lasted 7 minutes before retreating inside with a sunburn on one forearm. And guess what? Leaving the door open doesn't cool you off. It just battles your cabin's AC, raising the room temperature and causing condensation on the walls. Some cruisers actually end up less comfortable in balcony cabins because the temptation to keep the door open ruins the internal climate. Meanwhile, my friend in an inside cabin was chilling under his blanket, completely unaware of the sweatbox drama unfolding on deck 9. 9. Cleaning interruptions. You think a balcony gives you freedom until housekeeping shows up with a hose. Cruise ships regularly clean balconies during the trip, and when they do, you're locked out. A maintenance in progress notice hanging like a punishment. I once returned from breakfast ready to relax and found my balcony soaked, chairs flipped, and a maintenance guy staring at me through the glass while wielding a mop. No warning, no schedule. On longer sailings, balconies are cleaned mid-cruise and sometimes mid-day. You'll never know when it's off limits. Just that it's off limits right when you plan to enjoy it. And don't leave anything out. One friend lost a pair of sunglasses that slid off during pressure washing. Want uninterrupted privacy? Book a cabin with sealed windows. At least you won't return to find your towel soaked and your book floating across the balcony floor. 10. Cabin door drama. Balcony cabins come with sliding doors. Sounds great in theory, until you're waging war with them at 3 a.m. These doors don't just slide silently open like in movies. They clunk. They rattle. Some barely close unless you slam them, which, surprise, wakes up the entire hallway. On one trip, my door stuck just enough that it let in a high-pitched whistle all night. Maintenance fixed it with duct tape. Cruise forums are littered with complaints about these balcony door acoustics, and unless you're lucky with a newer ship and well-oiled tracks, expect drama. Prefer sleeping in silence? Go for a window cabin. Fewer door slams, fewer jump scares, just rest. 11. Sea spray. Surprise. You imagine sipping coffee on your balcony, wrapped in a robe, ocean breeze brushing your face like a postcard. Reality? That breeze is a high-speed slap, followed by a salty shower. Depending on where your cabin sits, especially forward-facing or near sharp turns, wind whips in fast. But it's not just air, it's sea mist, splashback from lower decks, and sometimes even rogue spray from the ship's wake. I once left a paperback on the balcony chair. Came back 10 minutes later, and it was soaked like it fell in a pool. Electronics? Don't even think about it. Salt water eats through phones, Kindles, and camera gear like candy. Unlike interior or public lounge areas, balconies aren't protected from sudden shifts in wind and spray. If you're hoping to read, nap, or relax outside, be ready to dodge puddles and wipe salt off your seat. You paid extra for oceanfront, not a saltwater facial. 12. Shouting deck syndrome. You imagine your balcony as a private escape. Coffee in hand, ocean views, maybe a little journaling. But here's the catch. Many balcony cabins sit directly below public decks. That means when the upper deck turns into a party zone, your serene space becomes a front row seat to someone else's vacation soundtrack. I once had a family doing full Marco Polo callouts from the pool above my head for an hour. Add early morning joggers, dragging deck chairs, and someone power walking in flip-flops. That tranquil balcony moment? Gone. Most people don't realize how thin the separation is between your ceiling and the deck above. 13. Not-so-private moments. Private balcony sounds great until you realize it's not really private. Most cruise ship balcony dividers are waist-high panels, and sound travels through them like gossip in a high school hallway. You'll hear every phone call, every argument, every awkward moment from your neighbors. I once sat down to journal and ended up listening to a full-blown breakup from the cabin next door. Tears, shouting, door slams, and a final dramatic "you never listen" that echoed off the water. Worse, some balconies wrap around the ship, meaning upper decks look down onto yours. So you're quiet sunbathing, public spectacle. Some cruisers even peek over the dividers out of curiosity. Suddenly, your private coffee moment feels like a stage performance. If true privacy matters to you, a balcony may not deliver. Oddly enough, interior cabins, with 4 walls and no peeping, offer more solitude than the outdoor space you paid extra for. 14. Rough seas reality. When the water gets choppy, that lovely balcony becomes a liability. You imagined gently rocking waves and ocean breezes. But when the ship starts rolling, and it will, your balcony door might slam, your chair might tip, and your stomach might turn. One particularly rough night, I opened the sliding door to get some air and instantly regretted it. Spray blew in, the floor was soaked, and I spent the next hour cleaning water off my suitcase. Worse, some passengers reported their balcony railings dripping wet from ocean spray, even when they never stepped outside. Wind howls, doors rattle, and unless you latch everything perfectly, you'll be up at 2 a.m. chasing noises. On calm seas, a balcony is peaceful. 15. Opportunity cost. Let's talk value, that extra $300, $700, or more you spend on a balcony. It doesn't just disappear, it's money you could use elsewhere. A specialty dining package, a full excursion in every port, spa treatments, premium internet, or, hear me out, a longer cruise. I once downgraded from a balcony to an ocean view and used the savings to book a 10-day cruise instead of a 7-day one. Best decision ever. More destinations, more time on board, and I didn't miss the balcony once. In fact, I felt smug every time I walked past those unused balconies, knowing my extra days were worth more than any private chair. If you're the kind of cruiser who explores, dines, watches shows, or even just lounges on public decks, that balcony money becomes a wasted luxury. Budget smart. Prioritize experiences over square footage. Your memories won't care what kind of railing you leaned on. 16. Balcony lockouts. You'd think locking yourself out of your cruise cabin is impossible until you're standing barefoot in your robe on your balcony, knocking like a panicked squirrel. Balcony doors auto-lock on some ships when fully shut, especially if you're not careful or don't know the specific handle quirks. I once watched a poor guy stuck outside in nothing but a towel, trying to get attention by waving a flip-flop through the railing. Security had to enter the cabin from the hallway while he hid behind a deck chair. Hilarious? Yes. Comfortable? Not remotely. And if your neighbor doesn't hear you knocking, or worse, you're sailing solo, you're stuck out there for a while. No phone, no keycard, just sea breeze and shame. 17. Balcony-adjacent drama. Your balcony may be peaceful, but that doesn't mean your neighbors are. Maybe it's a loud FaceTime call on speaker. Maybe it's someone blasting EDM on a portable speaker while sunbathing. Or maybe it's the couple 2 doors down who brought a Bluetooth karaoke mic. Balconies don't come with soundproof glass or behavior filters. Sound travels, and cruise etiquette is often, well, interpretive. If you like quiet mornings or romantic sunsets, a single obnoxious neighbor can tank your experience. Want real peace? Go to the solarium or grab a lounger early on Deck 5. The view's just as good, and you won't be serenaded by strangers unless you actually sign up for karaoke night, which is where that mic should have stayed. 18. Maintenance wake-up calls. You're sleeping in. You paid extra for a peaceful balcony experience. But at 8 a.m. sharp, screech! A pressure washer blasts your balcony door. Welcome to maintenance morning. Ships must clean decks, windows, and railings often. And if your cabin is on a lower deck or near lifeboats, you're prime territory for unannounced hosing. I once woke up to a rope swinging just outside my window and a man rappelling down mid-wash. He gave a friendly wave while I was in pajamas brushing my teeth. Not exactly the serene sunrise I imagined. Your balcony is part of the ship exterior, and that means it's not always your personal sanctuary. Want to avoid water blasts and dangling squeegees at dawn? Interior cabins offer the one thing balconies can't guarantee: zero surprise visitors peeking into your space while dangling from the 10th deck. 19. Bugs and bird bombs. You thought mosquitoes were a land problem? Not on cruises. Especially when you're docked near tropical ports, bugs find their way onto balconies and straight into your room. Balcony doors don't have screens. I once left mine cracked for fresh air, then came back to find a trail of gnats throwing a party on my pillow. Another time, I was enjoying coffee on the balcony until a seagull strafed from above and nailed the armrest like it was target practice. Fun fact: ship crew doesn't clean individual balcony furniture daily. Want to lounge without nature's surprises? Head to a public deck where staff clean frequently and birdwatch from afar. The view is still oceanfront, just without the pigeon poop roulette. 20. Just leave it open. Myths. People love to say, just leave the balcony door open to hear the waves. It sounds dreamy. Ocean breeze, crashing surf, the perfect sleep soundtrack. Reality check: cruise ships don't work like beachfront hotels. Opening your balcony door messes with cabin air pressure. It often automatically shuts off your AC, leaving the room muggy and stale in minutes. I learned this the hard way on a warm night. Woke up sweating, confused why the AC wasn't working, only to realize the door sensor cut it off. Want nature sounds? Download a Wave Noise app and keep your AC running. Because waking up hot, sticky, and surrounded by damp cabin air isn't exactly the luxury experience that brochure promised. Balcony cabins sound luxurious until the smoke wafts in, your neighbors won't shut up, and the salt spray ruins your Kindle. I've been there, paid the premium, and regretted every penny. Unless you're obsessed with selfies or sunrises, you're better off saving your money and upgrading where it actually counts. Ever had a balcony nightmare of your own? Drop it in the comments, and cruise smarter next time.